Anti-regime protests have lit up around Iran following the tragic death of a young woman. It seems like the population has had it with a theocratic and authoritarian government in Iran. This video will go over the protests, how they started, and what they could potentially lead to. After a coup in 1953, Iran was a close US ally during the Cold War. However, this changed when a revolution in 1979 put the current government in charge. Women in Iran have very few rights, and some of their sovereignty is in direct control by their husbands. Masha Amani was arrested on the 16th of September for wearing her hijab too loosely. The terribly named morality police in Iran were very violent when arresting her, and she passed away later that day. The government said she had underlying health conditions, but her family has come out and said that's fake and that their daughter was horribly mistreated. There was no way for Masha's family to legally get justice for this, because the supreme leader controls the courts. When this news came out, protests erupted across the country. Women and men were protesting against the autocratic rule of the government, along with women's and minorities' rights. Women would cut their hair in public and hijabs would be burned. These protests were cracked down on by the government, but they couldn't stop all of them. Many more have happened since September 16th, with yesterday having a big wave too. Let's see what some of these protests could do to the government. If these protests are allowed to spring up into a revolution, that could be the end of the current government in Iran. A change in government could have large geopolitical consequences that would be hard to predict. I think that if there was a new government, it would be a moderate Shia hybrid regime. I don't think it would be directly democratic, but would definitely allow some more freedoms than the current government. The main effects of this would have to come from what the new government would do. They could cease ties with Hamas and Palestine, which could lead to the lifting of the Gaza blockade. I was also thinking about making a video regarding Iran and Israel's bitter rivalry, and why it's one of the main causes of the Israel-Palestine conflict, so let me know if that'd be a good idea. This new government could also stop supporting the Houthis in Yemen, which would lead to a faster end to that civil war. There are many plays the government could do, but it depends on who leads it and what their plans are. Iran has great geography and resources, but the last few generations of leadership haven't been able to truly embrace that. These protests could lead to a big turning point in the world. Like what's written on Masha's tombstone, "Jinnah, dear, you will not die. Your name will be turned into a symbol, has already come true." Alright, I can add Iran to the list of countries I can never visit now. Sorry if that video was a bit darker than some of the others on my channel, but that's just how the world is sometimes. Don't forget to look at the light for most of the time. Alright, see you guys.